I was born in 1960 in Dallas, Texas. When I was 3, I wanted to be a cowboy. I grew up in a family of civil rights activists in Southern California. People called me a tomboy, but I thought of myself as a poet and an artist. I studied art in college and got married when I graduated. My son came along on my 23rd birthday. I wanted a partner in life, and I loved being a mom, but I was never willing to let a misogynist society stop me from being a full person. We moved to Spartanburg, South Carolina, where I began to do performance art around social and sexual issues. I inhabited a fluid gender identity. I was uncomfortable with the role I felt was being thrust on me as a mother, and I was angry about the heartless and hateful way our government was responding to the AIDS crisis. I wasn't afraid to test people's preconceptions in my work. I called it psychic surgery. I began to feel trapped as a corporate housewife. In 1989, my marriage ended, and I moved to New York City. I had just won an important grant as an emerging performance artist. I was a single mother and a teacher, and I was working on the cutting edge of the New York underground performance scene. I fell in love with a musician. We didn't have much, but we managed to start a band together. A few years later, we got married at CBGB's gallery. I always thought of myself as the equal of any man, but I think to the men in my life, I may have been overwhelming. They always seemed to be trying to curb me. It seemed like it was hard for them to validate my point of view. It was as if the things that were important to me were being trivialized. That made it difficult to live up to expectations, my own or theirs. What I was most anxious about was what would happen if our project started to take off. I didn't want to leave my child to go on tour, but how else could we afford it? I agonized over it. After a miscarriage and increasing conflict with my husband over the band, I became despondent. I felt like a failure after every show. The closer we came to success, the more inadequate I felt. On November 1st, 1995, tragically, my elder sister died. My marriage and my life began to fall apart. That January, I had a strange dream. It was a dream that would change my life forever. I began to make comics obsessively. I started making dolls as well. I poured my grief into my work. My first comic was called Zombie Punk. I had stopped devoting myself entirely to the band. It felt as though my light had been put under a bushel. The day I insisted on being treated as an equal was the day my husband decided that I was out of the band. Our marriage didn't survive much longer. But I never gave up on love, and I never stopped being an artist. Zombie Punk was the beginning of a renewed life of devotion to my art, and I've been responding to that magical dream in my work ever since.